To dig even deeper, this is the PVL All-Filipino Conference Semifinals. Welcome back to the heart of volleyball.
Step aside, I own this night. 차가운 시선도 out of sight. Pulse in my vein, it's electric gold. 내 불빛은 never cold. Light it up, no turning back. 세상 내 무대 track. 숨길 수 없어 내 vibe, so really energy you gonna feel. I'm invincible, nothing can break me. Limitless flow, don't try to chase me. Crash like a wave, wild and free. Move and we, I'm all you see. Invincible, na 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 yeah. Na 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 na. Invincible, na 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 na. Na 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 na. 늦지 않아.
Nobody was happier than Trisha Tubu when she found out that she finally made it to the semifinals after 8 conferences here in the PVL. But it's not going to be an easy ride going up against Erica Santos and the rest of the veterans of the CIGNAL Super Spikers, who are equally excited to get another shot at the finals and maybe even finally winning the crown. And that is what the semifinals are all about here at the PVL All-Filipino Conference. We are back at the MOA Arena. A very busy Saturday, a great day for volleyball, and we are excited, and so are all of the volleyball fans. It is going to be a great doubleheader today, starting off with the Farm Fresh Foxies going up against the CIGNAL Super Spikers, and later on tonight, we've got the PLDT high-speed hitters meeting the Cream Line Cool Smashers. So we want to make sure that you are comfortable and settled, because it's going to be a long day of a lot of excitement, and we are glad you're with us today. My name is Chikiro Puno. We heard from Kyla King-Su setting it up perfectly. This is really a long time coming. Parang ang haba ng ating All-Filipino Conference. And you have a lot of stories for us. But of course, Ivy Remulla also with me. And you know, it's looking at how the kind of road that both of these teams took to get here, parang so rocky. It's so many twists and turns. Pero sa katapos-tapusan, it's the same Final Four from the preliminaries that are here.
That's right. So it has been a lot of ups and downs, of course. I'm sure a lot of stress, anxiety, and wins as well, of course, for these teams. But yes, the Final Four teams are finally here. So these are the winners from the qualifying round, and they move on to the semifinals. And of course, when they came into the semifinals, meron pa dito tayo nagkaroon ng play-ins wherein they competed with other teams, and that's where the Fox, of course, Farm Fresh Foxes and Cream Line Cool Smashers was able to earn their spot here in the semifinals. And here in this round, everybody, all these 4 teams will, of course, go against each other in a single round robin match. The top 2 teams will go and compete for the gold, while the ranked 3 and 4 will battle for bronze. And it's going to be still a grueling match, because the battle for bronze and the battle for gold will still be a best of 3 series.
So actually, mahaba pa. Kasi some are getting sad. Naku, nasa semis na tayo. Patapos na yung conference. Pero there's a lot more volleyball left for all of you. And what's interesting about this matchup in our first game, it's a same but different. Same because both of them really vying for a first, something that they have never gotten to before, more so for Farm Fresh, but also for CIGNAL. They've never gotten to the top, but different because, Kyla, we're looking at a different makeup of teams. On the one hand, a lot of veterans in CIGNAL, but in Farm Fresh, it's a good mix.
Yes, definitely. I was able to speak to Cez Molina, actually, of the Farm Fresh Foxies, and I asked her to take me back to last Tuesday, the big win over Nextled in the 3-set game, and she told me that win was really so emotional, not just for the veterans, but more so for the younger ones who have been with the team since day one. She particularly stated that it was so emotional for Trisha Tubu as well, who has been with the team for almost 3 years. Cez Molina told me that today she just wants to remind the team to stay grounded. She knows that emotions are definitely high, because this is, you know, a spot that the Farm Fresh Foxies have really earned. This is already their 9th conference in the PVL. They actually fell short last year in the reinforced. They almost made it to semifinals, but now this is their time, sabi nga niya. This is their time to shine. And they are not really newcomers anymore with the mix that you mentioned, Miss Chiki. A great mix of veterans and younger talents. And now they have all the tools and the talents that they need. They just have to figure out how they're going to be able to start this semifinals the right way.
Okay, let's take a look at this one person also who is in one way a newbie but also a veteran in her own right. We're talking about Aloha Robbins-Hardy, of course. I'm sure you saw her at the dugout too. Pero bago siya, di ba, she was number 3 in the draft. So new in the PVL but not really new in volleyball. In fact, bringing in a lot of experience.
That's right. Yes, she has played, of course, in other different countries, and she's bringing that experience here to help the Farm Fresh Foxies here in the semis. And she has been very key, in orchestrating the plays for Farm Fresh Foxies in their last game. She, in the playoffs, actually, against Next Ledge, scored 5 points and 16 excellent sets. She has been doing a very good job, making her attackers look good.
Definitely making heads turn. Maraming nakakapansin sa kanya ngayon, especially these days na talagang pinapansin natin kung sino ba yung mga paborito natin mga players, right, Kyla? Because this is a season for another first.
Yes, because we do have a volleyball all-star showcase already happening this May 1 in Canton City. And by the way, everybody, it is the last day to vote for your favorite players to join your dream teams. You can actually vote at pvl.ph/all-star. And it's not just your favorite players from the PVL, but also from the Spiker Serve. Again, the countdown starts right there. You can see it on your screens because it will end at 11:59 tonight. So make sure that you vote before then to vote for your favorite players to team. Again, go to pvl.ph/all-star. That's PVL, and you also have the Spiker Surf, whether that's Alohi, if she's one of your favorite players, or maybe on the Signal side, we do have some great players like the setter matchup that we have going on here with Jel Cayuna. On the other side, Miss Chiki.
That's right. Ako, may 8 hours pa. Pero wag muna. Manood muna kayo dito pag commercial sa kaya kayo bumoto. But you're right. This is an interesting matchup. We're talking about scoring setters here. 11 points for Jel Cayuna in that last game against Creamline Ivy.
That's right. So Jel Cayuna. So this is really a very good matchup of setters that we're having right here. So kanina we talked about Alohi, and now we're talking about Jel Cayuna, who has also been very instrumental in bringing Signal here into this round. So in the first round, the team lost to Creamline. They were able to redeem themselves in another 5-setter win. And Jel Cayuna has been one of the key players responsible for that victory. 11 points, one of the 3 players in double digits in that match. And get this, 35 excellent sets. So that's really a lot. So almost perfect game for Jel Cayuna.
So exciting actually to watch whenever she's on the court. One thing about the Signal Super Spikers, and we've already said this, that they have always been almost there, always the bridesmaid, never quite the bride. I don't know what it's like for them coming into this conference so near, yet we don't know how it's gonna end.
Yes, well, I actually got to speak with Coach Shaq for the Signal side, and compared to the Farm Fresh Foxies, they had a much longer break. They had almost 2 weeks to prepare for this specific matchup, and Coach Shaq told me that they only took 3 days off during that break because they really wanted to lock in. As Miss Chiki mentioned, they're always in this familiar territory but never been able to finish it. They're looking for their 3rd finals appearance here and still looking for their first championship here in the PVL. I spoke to Coach Shaq and he told me that the players are all ready in the dugout. The vibes and the energy was actually great. No sense of any nerves. Just a lot of excitement to make do with what they have and to give their best in this first game for the semifinals. And that's very exciting to see because the Signal Super Spikers, they have enormous potential. They're always stable. They just need to close it out and finally make their way to the finals once again and hopefully get their first franchise championship, Ms. Chiki.
All right. And of course, we want you in on the conversation like always. Ano bang gusto natin malaman? There's that PVL question, the PL question.
Yes, we want to thank our fans, especially those watching us on the Pilipinas Live app for your support. It's been a long conference, but we do want to keep engaging with you guys Kaya naman, there's a live poll right below the stream where you guys can answer our question of the game. And today our question is, which superstar opposite will rise to the occasion? Will it be Trisha Tubu of the Farm Fresh Foxies or maybe Erica Santos of the Signal Super Spikers? Again, answer that on the Pilipinas Live app, or you can also join in our conversation online using our official hashtag PVL2026. Now, it's going to be a long semis day, our first day of the semifinals. Let's not keep our fans waiting.
Oh no, but before we get started with the action here, we want to take you to an interview about this girl who has really been taking center stage. She has really done so well, probably, arguably her best conference yet. We're talking about Vanny Gandler of the Signal Super Spikers and her main character energy for this conference. Watch this interview.
It was an exciting journey, but a very tough one, of course. All the teams this conference are strong, everyone is very challenging. Every game, you can't relax. It was really a fight, like every game, but I'm just grateful for my team that we stick together and we really give our hearts when we train, when we play in games. Well, not even just from this conference. My team has experienced so many heartbreaks where we do well in the elimination round and we lose when it's crucial. But I learned that this team never stops fighting. That every single person in the team, from the management to the coach to the players, we all want to give our all so that we could help each other. I've seen it throughout this conference because every practice, everyone's trying to figure out what we can do better. This conference, I really saw the maturity of each one of us in the team. In this semis game against Farm Fresh, the mindset I want to bring with the team is to focus on one day at a time. Be it in practice or the first game, we're never gonna get ahead of ourselves. We know that the competition is tough every game.
higpitan ninyo. At baka kayo ang mapigtas.
Push us to our limits, find out why we're super.
Walang connection na mapapati.
We're taking the high-speed route to the crown. Hindi lang kami handa, fresh pa kami.
Matagal-tagal din ang aming hinintay para makaani.
Hirap na pinagdaanan, yan ang nagpatamis sa pagpasok sa semi.
Hindi na sapat ang chillin' lang. It's time to show that winning is part of our DNA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mall of Asia Arena. This is the semifinal round of the PVL All-Filipino Conference 2026. This is match number 54 between the Farm Fresh Foxies and the CIGNAL Super Spikers. Our officials for this match, the first referee, Josie Del Rosario, international referee. The second referee, Justine Navidad, national referee. And now let's meet the starters. First for the Farm Fresh Foxies. Center from Brigham Young University, number 1, Alohi Robbins Hardy. Outside spiker from San Beda University, number 7, Ces Molina. Middle blocker from Anderson University, number 9, Riza Cruz. Opposite hitter also from Adamson, number 12, Trisha Tubu. Middle blocker from the University of Santo Tomas, number 18, Ria Meneses. Outside spiker from the University of Perpetual Help System Delta, number 21, Royce Tupino. Starting libero from the National University, number 4, Bia General. The head coach for Farm Fresh is Koji Susurabara. And now the starters for the CIGNAL Super Spikers. Middle blocker from the National University, number 2, Rose Doria Aquino. Outside spiker from De La Salle University, number 4, Tin Tiamzon. Outside spiker from the Ateneo de Manila University, number 5, Fanny Gendler. Opposite hitter from La Salle, number 8, Erica Santos. Middle blocker from NU, number 11, Jackie Acuna. Center from the Far Eastern University, number 22, Jel Cayuna. Starting libero from La Salle, number 16, team captain, Don Bacandili Catindig. Head coach for CIGNAL is Jack De Los Santos. This game is held under the supervision and regulation of the Games of the Sport. It is the semifinals between Farm Fresh and CIGNAL. Signal. This is the PVL, the heart of volleyball.
You're looking at the starting unit. Wondering if Aragalang is there. No, she will not start today. She had a big game, that last game that Farm Fresh played against Next Led. So we are looking forward to seeing Aragalang on the court. And you got a glimpse of the usual starting unit of Signal Super Spiders. Had a 2-week break. So mas fresh ang legs actually ng Signal. And that's why even the rotation, which is something that we've come to expect from Coach Koji, kasama yan sa Japanese style, kung paano i-rotate yung mga players to keep everybody fresh. Starting with a long rally here.
Again, a lot at stake, of course, at this game. So we would really be expecting both of these teams to give it their all. So again, we're just fighting for the first point. But siguro we're into a minute already into the rally.
And Trisha Tubu will get on the scoreboard first. And that was an entertaining start to this first semifinals game. And tama ka, Ivy, if that's important for things to come. Magiging ganito ba ang ating semifinals games? I'm sure it'll be the same way for our second game tonight. A much-awaited face-off between PLDT and Creamline. So single round robin among the 4 teams in this round, in semifinals. Erica Santos now blocked by Royce Tubino, but play continues.
Oh, what a good angle there by Erica Santos.
Parang mirror lang nung nangyari kay Trisha Tubu, just managing to get it right across with that cut shot.
He was probably saying, napuntusan mo ko dito, so ako rin.
And Rose Aquino Doria now getting ready to serve. And quick activation of the middle there, Riri Meneses. That one was a quick point, unanswered there.
Of course, for both of these teams, they would definitely need to keep the middles also very busy, you know, because you really have to maximize all of the attackers. If the first point is any preview of how things can be going, so, you know, you'd really need the inputs of all of the attackers to create the points.
So we mentioned kanina, Ivy, no, na it's the same top 4 teams from the preliminaries anyway. Pagkatapos nung play-in, all of that, labas-pasok, ang Creamline at ang Farm Fresh, eto na rin sila. But we're actually looking at the 2nd place team and the 4th place team. Of course, Signal being the higher place team. But Farm Fresh is surprising everybody, I think, with this early lead. Perfect pass there. And when you get an A pass to Jel Cayuna like that, you can expect na iiral talaga yung sistema ng Signal. She will pick the right attacker and she will get a good point.
And you know, you also have to take into consideration that you cannot discount Jel Cayuna as just the setter, you know, because she also can attack, you know, she can also score the points.
That's the exciting thing about both these setters. No, Ivy, of course, we've got Aloy Robins-Hardy, who is the tallest setter I think that the PVL has ever seen at 6'3", and she is definitely a threat up front. And the formidable blocker usually will choose the setter when she's in the front.
That's true,
diba?
that's true.
Not the case with Aloy. Early service error by Trisha Tubu. And that brings us to 3 serving 5 now, with Signal getting the ball back. Danny Gandler, like we mentioned, has had a fantastic conference. Always scoring in the 20s. Good blocking, but that one is outside. So Signal now just within a point. One more time in that last play. Oh, that one bounces off the hands of Aloy. That one went over, and costly for Royce Tubino and her overpass.
Now we're tied at 5.
So ang bilis din humabol ng Signal. Hindi rin nagpaiwan.
Well, passing would be key here for both teams.
And that running attack could up by Trisha Tubino. Now getting the point. Getting it off the hands. And we know Royce Tubino also one of the more seasoned players here on the Farm Fresh side. So ang sarap din siguro for the newer players of Farm Fresh being really in the same team as these veterans.
You know, they get to learn also from these more senior players.
Pampataas ng kumpiyansa, tsaka syempre nakakakilig din eh, no?
You know, parang ina-idolize mo before, you're watching them before, and now you're playing together.
Oh, with that action there from that 1-2 and the save by Don Katindig, but put right back by Aloy Robins-Hardy. Look at that save, pero bumalik yung bola, and hindi na pinakawala ni Aloy. Oh, getting good digs here from Farm Fresh. And Molina with a counter. Just the quick action there, leaving the blockers behind on the Signal side. And we are at our first technical timeout with Farm Fresh leading by 3.
Welcome back to the PVL. You are watching the Signal Super Spikers and the Farm Fresh Foxies, and this is day 1 of the PVL All-Filipino Conference semi-finals. And this is set number 1. This set is not just about execution, but it is also about belief. One team believes in what they know and in their experience, while the other team believes in what they're becoming. And right now, both are holding their ground. For Signal, that trust comes from repetition, from being in these moments before. And Erica Santos spoke about that confidence in a very honest way. Sabi nga niya, hindi na siya tanong kung kaya, mas tanong kung kailan namin kukunin. But on the other side, Farm Fresh is operating on something less proven but just as powerful. For Trisha Tubu, it's not about having all the answers. In her words, hindi pa buo, pero we're getting there. So early on, it's not just about who executes, but which belief holds longer. And talking about belief, if you believe your favorite player should be in the All-Star Showcase, make sure to head over to pvl.ph/allstar to vote, because voting ends today. Cheeky and Ivy.
Thanks a lot for that reminder. 7 hours to go. Don't forget to catch the starters reveal for the PVL and Spikers Turf Volleyball All-Star Showcase. That will be live. And starting lineup on April 13 on Monday at 6:30 p.m. on One Sports and the Pilipinas Live app. That's exciting. Meantime, 4-0 run here by Farm Fresh and very exciting rallies that just keep going.
The point and Signal.
So humiwalay na ang Farm Fresh. 9-5 is the score.
But that once was won by Signal. So that reduces the lead of Farm Fresh to 3, 6 serving 9.
Tough serves from Signal. And Ces Molina still manages to get the touch, I believe.
A lot of the points of Farm Fresh are coming off from the touch of the block.
And you know, another factor here, of course, Riri Meneses, Ces Molina knows all too well what is happening on the other side of the court, really understanding that system, being part of that for a long time. Oh, sumabit. Good idea for Jel Cayuna, but I think that just goes to show how difficult it is to really perform a 1-2. Hindi madali eh. Sumabit that time, and timeout called by Coach Shaq.
Hey, makinig ha. Kailangan mabago niyo yung galaw niyo na yan. Ilang beses bumalo dun sa dulo na nag-check ball. Ilang araw natin pinagandaan paano i-stop yung down the line. So ibig sabihin, hindi tayo natutunan.
Farm Fresh still on top, but now just by 2 points after that 3-0 run by Signal. So Coach needing to call that timeout. Very emphatic about
That's right. And the specific things that he wants the girls to do. So let's see how Farm Fresh will be responding to that timeout. Better passing here for Farm Fresh.
Chance for Signal again to counter. Tubu was there for the defense. And reset for Farm Fresh. Still good defense from Signal. Erica Santos with a counter. And the rallies, they are long today. And the 4-0 run na. Erica Santos with 3 points. And Camson leads all scorers with 4. Kayuna, as we said, the #1 server. Back row attack. Good read by Meneses. Oh, but not that time. Tin Camson managed to sneak another point in. That's 5 points for Tin. So she is not as scouted as the other players. Kasi nga, she doesn't always start.
Right.
When Tin Camson has a good game, she really goes all the way.
5-point run. We're now tied 11 apiece. Oh, what a hit.
Yeah, but a good save there at the set by Robinson Hardy with that one-handed set.
I guess that's again an advantage if you have someone as tall as Alohi if you're a setter.
Nagukot pa niya, no? Oh, that one outside, and Dawn Kalindig using her experience, knowing that that ball would sail out. So the last game against Creamline, si Tin only played, came in the second. She scored 6 points altogether, but when they played Farm Fresh earlier in the conference, she started. Wow, what a save there by Dawn. Also a lot of good defense we're seeing from Tubu. Oh, that one hit her on the way down. Not able to get it back. Of course, Tubu is scouted by Signal. Binantayan talaga at inaral, for sure.
7-point run here for Signal.
And Molina will get, look at that. The blocking of Signal. Working today. Actually, you know, Farm Fresh is so impressive on paper. When you look at the way the team ranks in most of the departments, particularly in spiking, they are #1. They're #2 in blocking against Signal, who is in 7th place. But that is not evident here. I mean, they're showing otherwise here with their blocking so far.
Farm Fresh gets a break from that service error by Tin Tiamzon, but you know, Signal was on a roll in that last sequence. Imagine from 7-11, it's now 14-13. So that much has been done by Signal,
and they want not only to get the lead but keep the lead. So now it's a 2-point advantage with that kill by Erica Santos. Tides changing here a little bit with Signal. Now in the lead. Oh, that one was the set that Tubu wanted. The lead is down to 1. Those first set. And you know, we know that this is a reinforced Farm Fresh team with a lot of players coming from Cherry Tigo coming in, also a few from Chocomucho, so very different mix, and a lot more at the bench waiting to come in. But Joyce Tubino, of course, has been starting one of the old reliables, even during her time in Chocomucho. So Reader Meneses still just with just 1 point. Need more activation for the middles, and Santos playing it smart. 6 points for Erica Santos.
Good read there by Erica Santos, finding that hole in the defense for Farfresh.
And at our second technical timeout, Signals up by 1. And we are back at the Mo Arena for our doubleheader today. First day of the semifinals. Chiki Roapuno with Ivy Remulla and Kyla Kingsu and Do or Don. I love that. Well, 31 digs. She performed against Creamline and she has had spectacular saves already. Nasa first set pa lang tayo. The forever entertaining Don Katindig.
That's right, and she's with that numbers, of course. No wonder she's the #1 ranked digger here in the conference.
So it's also a good face-off here between the liberos and the setters. And of course, we're watching for the numbers of Tisha Tubu and Vanny Gandler. That's a second service error by Tubu already.
Tisha Tubu is currently the #2 scorer in the league and the #1 ranked spiker in the league.
Yeah, since we're at it, the scorers, no, from the top 10, we've got 4 of the top 10 players on the court. Of course, you mentioned Ivy. Si Trisha Tubu is second best. Her teammate, Ces Molina, is #9. And we've got Gandler in #6. Erica Santos in #8. So top scorers here. And add to that an ace by Vanny Gandler. But that's something to think about, no, for Farm Fresh. Because if you look at the way they performed all throughout in the game that they played against Creamline and the first game that they played together, talagang dalawa lang yung namamayagpag. It's Erica Santos and Vanny Gandler. So if you can stop them,
right,
it might actually just be the solution to the problem that is Signal.
I think one thing that has to work, of course, on the side of Farm Fresh is the net defense.
We got Mylene Paad already on the court. And Tint Yamson also has to, I guess they recognize that there has to be a third or fourth player that you can count on, because I'm sure Farm Fresh already with their eyes on both Vanny and Erica Santos. Ooh, that's a big serve. Just from the release. That was a bullet. When you see a shank on Don Katindig, that means, or a chesty almost, alam mong napakahirap. Oh! 2 in a row! And even Royce Avino beside herself with that. 2 aces for Royce.
3-point run now for Farm Fresh.
That's got to be part of the game plan also. Kargado kailangan yung inyong mga serve. And it has been a game of runs, or set of runs so far. Better reception there from Vanny Gandler. Good stop by La Rosa. And Galang is also dug. Aragalang already on the court, and she scores her first point off the hands of the blockers. We recall she had a great game against Nextmed before this one with 9 points. And we have another timeout. Woo.
Commit muna tayo sa basa para makatake tayo, ha? Okay?
Ikot tayo ha, isa-isa.
Okay.
Signal! Super!
So another lead change, partner, nearing the 25-point mark. Let's see how Signal responds to that timeout.
Right, but you know what's about these two teams? Know what they're trying to score runs, you know, and then they try to tie, and then another team will score several runs. So that that really makes it very exciting.
And we're also seeing a good shuffle of players here. Now we got Luis Romero on the court, and at full front, Aragalang also. Back to attack, Erica Santos hitting it outside, untouched. So that is a error on the attack, an unforced error by CIGNAL. I think they're looking for, are they going to challenge it?
They won't challenge it, but I think a substitution instead will happen on the side of CIGNAL.
Oh, this is the first time we're seeing a new set of players, a double sub. Full front here, we've got Ordiales, and another explosive player. When she's on, she's on. So we'll see what kind of day Ordiales will have today. Chelsea will be doing the setting. Oof. What a stop. But really that down the line by Tiamson. Money. Uh-oh. And this is Mailipa holding onto her neck.
Oh, they had a collision trying to save the ball. Let's take a look at that once again. So this is with a hit, down the line hit of Tiamson. And was Maylene Paat and I think Royce Tubino. That's right.
Yeah. Parang natuhod inadvertently ni Royce yung patok ni Maylene Paat. I think it's just a little bit of, yeah, she's holding on to her back, to her nape, no? Nakita natin yung contact doon, but looks like she's okay. Romero looking for Galang. And C running after that ball, putting it up for Tiamson.
Good save there by Romero.
Wow, what a pancake. And C going to the back row this time. Still outside, so it's a good idea, but maybe a little too low. Let's see if CIGNAL will get that point. Looked like it sailed out.
So the first referee is saying that she's calling it out.
Okay, doesn't look like CIGNAL will challenge either.
Nakapantay ako nun, wala ka, tumama naman sa kamay. So kung makita ko namang, ano yun ha, bibigyan ko ng warning ha, pang sabi sa... Coach, captain na. Sabi ko na, coach, sabi ko na sa captain. Nasabi ko na po sa captain.
Eh, ulitin nyo na ulit. Paulit-ulit na tayo. Kaya nyo ng challenge.
And now we see a yellow card, the first one. So we know emotions are high. And Justin Del Rosario, our first referee, just posing a warning there against Coach Shaq.
We of course know that every point here is very important. So, they really would fight, for each and every point that they get. So they were saying that that's the second call already, that it could have touched the line, perhaps.
Fantastic saves from Romero. And that one is outside.
Was there a touch?
Is looking for a check ball.
No touch, according to our first referee.
And so it's just a 2-point ball game. And you've seen the lead changes in this first set alone. So this is definitely not over yet. And Jelka Yuna back in the fold. Of course, you want to bring her back in at the serve to add to her collection of aces, stopping the league in that department. Floater serve. Paat is blocked solid by Doria and Tiamson coming together. And CIGNAL now just playing catch up here, only a point difference.
Run! Ara, ready! It's okay, big catch, aggressive, sub catch! Don't rest! Don't rest!
Eh, isa lang yan. Isa lang. Lamang pa tayo. Kulang alaga. Eh, Farm Fresh! Foxy! Let's go! Sa ginagawa. Let's go!
3 straight points for Signal, getting them just within 1 point of Farm Fresh. It was a bigger lead earlier. And naamoy-amoy na ng Farm Fresh yung end game. But here comes Signal again. So, lesson learned here for Farm Fresh. A reminder there during the huddle. And these tough serves from Jelka Yuna, well handled by General that time. Another great save by Katindig. Romero looking for Aragala.
Oh, what a hit by Aragala.
And just the speed on that hit. Really nice contact there. Even Lord Katindig had a hard time with that one. And Robbins Hardy back on the court. We got Trisha Tubu and Riri Meneses, Aragala in the front. Ooh! Aces this time coming from Aloy Robbins Hardy, setting up her team for set point. 3 of them. Oh, good stop there by Aloy. It's going to be a free ball. Signal will get to regroup. One more time. Another nice rebound there for Farm Fresh. Galang blocked this time. Ball still alive. Oh! Ah, great heads-up play there from Signal. Just recognizing the hole in the back row of Farm Fresh. Averting set point.
Good court recognition on the side of Signal.
Pressure serve here for Tiamzon. Tubu is stopped. Erica Santos with a counter. General with a stop. And Galang again. This time Don Katindig was able to get it. And Gandler getting it off the hands. Vanny Gandler has been a bit quiet. This is only her 3rd point. But that was an important point right there.
A lot of good defense we've seen in that last sequence, and that's going to be very important here for both of the teams.
So we've got Torin coming in for Meneses in this crucial time for Farm Fresh. They still have set point. Again, good catch-up job here by Signal. See if they can keep going. Big serve. General doing her job. Galang is blocked. And here comes Signal with a counter. Too easy, broken play. Tubu will go up. A soft one, a smart one. That's what it took for Farm Fresh to win this first set. Just a really smart move there from Trisha Tubu. Look at it one more time. Play of the set brought to you by Pure Gold. Sa Pure Gold, always panalo. That's the winning point right there. Catching Erica Santos unawares. And look how happy Trisha Tubu was about the turnout. And we'll be back to talk more about the first set after the break. non-stop action in set 1. Look at the score. I mean, it can't get closer than that. 25-23. And what we saw were a lot of lead changes, a lot of runs. They took turns with their runs, Farm Fresh and Signal. In the end, it is the younger team who was able to take it. But if this is, like we said, Ivy, no, parang ganito mangyayari for the rest of the match.
That's right. And again, this is a very important match for both of these teams. So I think we don't expect anything less, from the spots. But I think one thing that worked well here for Farm Fresh is that they've had variations on their attack, especially in the latter part of the set. Tumiba yung kanilang depensa. As we take a look at the numbers for set number 1, Signal actually did better in defending the net, which is quite a surprise because that is something that we're looking for the side of the Farm Fresh Foxies. But they only had 2 block points. Both were manageable in terms of errors. Maganda yung naging performance in containing the errors. But what really made the difference here for Farm Fresh really, again, very, very close ang game, very slight ang margin, but the ability to be able to convert their attacks into points. And again, I think the variation helped because, they had a lot of those attacks that scored the points off the hands of the blockers. The tips also helped them as well. So, pero pag Signal kasi, I think, sa ngayon, the attacks of Signal has been a little bit predictable in the sense na, who they will be going to, which direction the attacks will be going to as well.
So from the first set, we've got Royce Tubino actually on top of all the scorers from the Farm Fresh side. Tubu with 4, Molina with 3. And on the other side, well, Tin Tiamson, like we mentioned, she started off strong and she maintained that level all throughout the first set. Santos and Tiamson both with 6 points. Gandler a bit quiet in that first set, so we know what needs to happen for Signal. If they want to dominate the second set, it will take Vanny Gandler participating more and making her presence felt.
That's right. And I think, the players that were fielded in on the side of Farm Fresh in the latter part, they all also contributed.
Yeah.
So parang it was a very good mix of the players here for Farm Fresh.
Really a team effort. And I'm sure that was also part of the planning, the game plan, making sure that everybody gets a chance to contribute and really preserve also their energy. This is a single round robin semifinal, so all teams guaranteed to play 3 games. Ooh, ang bigat nun. And that's what we can expect from Royce Tubino. Like, yung bigat na dating ng mga palo niya.
And she also knows how to angle her hits, avoiding the hands of the block. And there's speed and there's strength in her attacks.
And Gandler getting a touch there, scoring right away for Signal. I don't think it was a matter of Gandler not having a good first set. It's just that she wasn't getting too many chances. And of course, she is always the target of the serves. But she has improved much with her receiving. In fact, she's one of the top 10 in reception. Good defense we're seeing from Farm Fresh, like in the first set. And that was measured by Trisha Tubu right at the line there, zone 6. Sukat na sukat, tingnan niyo.
Yeah, it wasn't actually the hardest of hits from Tubu, but she just was able to find that sweet spot in the defense of Signal. Combination from Signal does not work.
Good read there by Farm Fresh. And again, Lisa Cruz able to save that one. Tubino, that one did not cross, and she knew it. So there on the attack by Royce Tubino. First time these two teams met, it was a 4-set affair. So Farm Fresh was able to take the third set. But let's turn it over now to Kyla Kingsu for her report.
Ms. Chiki and Ivy, I mean, this is the semifinals. In high-stakes games like this one, what is revealed is not just how these players score in these sets, in these games, but also who they've really become in this long process of the All-Filipino Conference. On one side, Bani Gandler is operating inside a system built on trust and repetition. And that's what you see, more intentional, clean timing, clear decisions. But on the other side is someone very familiar with that system because she used to be a part of it. Ces Molina now leads a very different farm fresh group, and her role has clearly evolved. She reflected on her return to this stage, saying that it's much different this time. Not about reliving the past, but embracing a brand new role and a new group she's helping build. Two players who once shared the same side of the court, now shaping two very different identities. And in a match like this, it's not just about how you score, it's about who you become. And if you believe Vanny, Ces, or any of your favorite players should be in the All-Star Showcase, make sure to head over to pvl.ph/allstar to vote, because voting will be ending today. Chiki and Ivy.
Thanks so much for that, Kayla. We love it. We love it when the character development of these players are given a light. And really interesting to see how they have matured through the years. Back to the game here. Tiamson is dug by General. And Molina getting it through the two-man block. Kylos is talking about how Ces has relished her role as the ate, really the mentor here on the Farm Fresh side. And of course, we cannot discount the intel nga that she brings, no? Yung mga nalalaman ni Ces Molina.
That's right, that's right. And then it's good also na yung actually, you know, it's only not just the skills, but the stuff that happens, you know, behind the scenes. You know, these are good things that the more senior players are able to bring in.
And it's a close second set so far. Palinan lang ng puntos. Right now, Signal enjoying a 2-point lead. And Erin Pangilinan is brought in for the first time in the second set. And Reader Meneses is dug there, so we're seeing good defense from Erica Santos. Also, that's another point for Tiamson. She's got 7.
She's having a good game today.
Definitely, she's already outdone herself. From the first time they met, she only scored 3. She scored 6 points against Creamline. Another good serve there from Pangilinan. Back row attack, Tubo! Inampas din niya yung bola doon.
Good hit from the back here.
Let's take a look at the spike of the set, brought to you by Duncan. Pasalubong ng bayan. Good first ball from Katindig. Tiamson on a rampage, 8 for Tin. And they are 5 points ahead in the first technical timeout. It is a 3-point lead by Signal after the first technical. But as we mentioned, Farm Fresh right there. What can you say about the way they're playing? Wala ka naman napapansin ka bang iba?
Well, this is not actually the best of starts for Farm Fresh because, you know, 4 out of the 9 points of Signal right now are coming off, or 3 rather, are coming off from the error. So it does not really build a good momentum, you know, to start a set.
And of course, Jel Cayuna there. We saw another ace for her, but luckily for Farm Fresh, followed up with a service error. Scores 9-6. Signal up by 3. Tough serve from Ses. Jamson blocked this time, so good adjustment here from Farm Fresh. Dahil nakadalawa-tatlo si Tim Tiamson from the left pin.
Good read. And the defense at the net was Meneses. Deny that attack from Tiamson.
Usually you see more action from the middles here on Signal. That was an attempt there to get Rose Doria. Ooh, that one was a good one from Erica Santos with 7 points now. Going down the line.
In Tiamson, 8 points in the match.
Good first ball there. Tubino going down the line. She's not going to get it. That one untouched. And you talked, Ivy, about the errors, and they keep coming.
4 free points given away by Farm Fresh.
They've been playing really good defense, but then, you know, the errors that are coming from their side.
Because it kind of takes away the momentum from them.
So that point earned by Signal that time. We have a timeout.
Deep breaths. Yeah. Don't laugh. Talking, move, basic. Don't laugh. Challenger, you are challenger. You have a lot of pressure. You have no pressure. You are challenger. Come on!
Huwag kayo magmamadali ha! Huwag magmamadali! Let's go mga laban to!
Mabigat din yung sinabi ni Coach Koji, and that's a really good reminder talking about the mindset that Farm Fresh should have. No pressure because they're the challengers.
That's right.
Coach Koji.
That's right. You know, sometimes, you know, in these games, you know, it's not. It's also about mindset. You know where you put yourself, what position you put yourself in. So let's see how they respond. Good defense on the side of Signal. This is going to be a free ball.
One more chance for Farm Fresh. Trisha Tubu going up, and again, Farm Fresh error prone in the second set. And so Signal is pulling away here now with a 6-point lead.
And what Signal is doing good here is that they're taking advantage of the fact that the momentum is on their side. Farm Fresh is committing series of errors.
Steady serving by Tin Tiamson. Tubino going up, getting it past the 2-man block. But a chance here for Signal to counter. Ball right back to the Super Spikers. Where will Hardy go? Reverse.
Oh, but a net touch, I think, by Royce Tubino.
That is what we're getting from our down ref, Navidad. Let's see.
Take a look at that. Yes, there was.
So again, a lot of these miscues. And it's not about the skill. We know the kind of ability these players have on the Farm Fresh side, but we're going to see it in the numbers later, just how many errors, how many points of Signal came from the errors of Farm Fresh. Chance again here for Farm Fresh, and Tubino will go, trying to go deep. Good read by Tiamson, free ball. You get to Tubu, and Meneses hits it outside. Pinapabayan na lang talaga ng Signal ang Farm Fresh to commit those mistakes.
And the pressure is actually on the side of Farm Fresh at the moment.
This is the biggest lead that we've seen all game long. Dikit na dikit kanina, hanggang 4 points lang yung lamang in the first set.
And this is already a 6-point run by Farm Fresh.
Oh. General, good heads up there. Ball still alive. Here we go. Signal with Gadler hitting it into the hands of the blockers. Ball right back to Signal, and Farm Fresh getting that much-needed point. And that's refreshing for Foxies after 7 errors already on their side. Finally, they get the ball back. Toring is on the court. Gandang habol ni Toring. Chance here for Signal to regroup. One-handed set. How about that? Definitely for the highlight reel.
Excellent play from Signal.
They're up by 8 in our second technical timeout. But first is Panalo play brought to you by Yakult. We'll be back. Back here at the MOA Arena, this is only game 1 of our double header today, the first day of our semifinals. Chicky Rowapuno with Ivy Remulla, Kyla Kingsu, and Farm Fresh already took the first set. Let's see if Signal can bounce back.
What's separating these two teams here in the second set is basically just the errors. 7 errors committed by Farm Fresh, while Signal only gave away 2 free points so far.
And that's a good response there. That timeout was advantageous for Farm Fresh. Volleyball adjusting a little bit there. She has been lapsing into errors lately. And new personnel here on the Farm Fresh side, Louis Romero and Mylene Paat. And this just might be the answer for Farm Fresh. Change of scenery here. Back set to Erica Santos. Blockers were there. She got it right through. Tubino timing it. Don Katindig with the dig. One more time for Santos. No blockers. And here we go again with the extended rallies. That one is inside.
Catches the line, point for Signal.
That looked good for Vanny Gantler. Limited to 5 points so far today. Erica Santos with 7. Tiamson leads all scorers on the Signal side with 8 points. Another shuffle here. Out of system play. Works well enough for Signal. This time, a set play. Pangilinan will get the point from that running attack. Erin Pangilinan, also one of the newer players, additions here in Signal, fitting right into the system. And another timeout call by Coach Koji.
Good move. 3 point. Take a 3 point. Okay. Serve catch. Okay, B catch. After side work. 3 front. Side work. Side work. Okay. Don't wait. Don't wait. Aggressive. Serve catch also. Aggressive. Defense also. Block also. Talk.
Let's go. Hey, Farm Fresh.
Medyo tahimik nga dito on the Farm Fresh side eh.
That's right, but you know, definitely what they would really need is more aggressiveness. So tama rin naman si Coach Koji on their side, you know. Signal obviously is controlling the momentum here in the second set, which is a good response, you know, given that they lost the first. So, but that was an error naman coming from Santos at the service line, coming off from that timeout.
And you can see the effort here by Farm Fresh to really liven things up. They're making a lot more noise now, talking to each other, which is what Coach Koji wanted for them to do. Running attack again. That's outside, untouched. Or I think they're looking for... Well, Erica Santos is looking for something. Haven't seen too many challenges. They are going to challenge this one, but we already saw successful running attack from Erin Pangilinan earlier. And that just signifies a challenge, that sound that we hear. So far, still a 6-point lead by Signal. They've been able to protect this lead. Oh, no, that was out.
That was outside.
Yeah.
Point will be for Farm Fresh, a much-needed point here.
Lead is still 5, as many as 8 before the timeout called by Coach Koji. Ooh, Kayuna! With her famous 1-2. 4 points already for Jel. Let's see if you know that Alohe is also capable of scoring. She's got 2 points so far, but we've got the scoring setters here on the floor. Aragalang back on the court. That's what the crowd is responding to. Good first ball. Ooh, no, almost an overpass, actually. So that's the difference between Louis Romero and Alohe. That would have been a perfect pass for Alohe.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the height difference really, you know, it counts for something.
Lead back to 8 for Signal. That's a better pass. Lisa Cruz stopped. And Aral will set up Aragalang with a soft touch. Good defense from Tiamzon. And completed by Benny Gandler for the back row, scoring her 6th point.
That was a good save.
Yeah.
That was, I think it was Tiamzon.
Yes. And Gandler completes. Yun yung matutuwa ka naman of your team. Hindi sinayang ni Vani yung save niya. And that one did not even cross. So Signal will get their 22nd point. This is a huge margin, 10 points. And Farm Fresh has to figure out how to just play cleaner volleyball in the 3rd set. This is all but over. Again for the back row. Good pick up there by Romero. Paat is blocked. Tubino manages to keep it in play. Everybody just on the floor saving balls. And that one is called inside. So Tiamzon will get that point. Paat tried, but you gotta hand it to Mylene Paat. Ready or not, she'll go for the ball talaga. Sa kanya binibigay eh.
But, yeah, pero medyo off yung kanyang approach or timing there. But the offense of Farm Fresh has become predictable, no, for Signal.
Oh, wow. We just love watching Don Katindig save balls. Rem Palma on the court now, too. Broken play. Pangilinan, swat away, getting the hands of Mylene Paat. Multiple chances at set point here with Randy Gandler at the serve. It shouldn't take long. As we said, much easier time for Signal getting the win back here in the second set. Oh, they're gonna challenge. Why not?
Well, you can take Any chance that you can get here a net fault challenge called by Farm Fresh?
See how far that will go, but really with Vanny Gandler, the 6th best server in the league. So lucky for Signal that this is the rotation that they have. And this is a last-ditch effort for Farm Fresh to keep playing.
Oh, there was.
Look!
I think it was the foot that touched the net. That was a good challenge called by Farm Fresh.
Very interesting. Well, I guess we play on. But it's still multiple set points here for Signal. A lot of pressure for the servers of Farm Fresh, but that was a good call there. There definitely was a net foot fault.
A sharp eyes, no, from the coaching staff of Farm Fresh.
May nakatutok, ano. Tough serve there from Palma. Jamson, whoop! Buhay pa, pero labas. And Farm Fresh stays alive.
But of course, it's going to be perfect volleyball here for Farm Fresh. Very big margin, 10-point advantage being enjoyed by Signal. Important serve here for Palma.
Ooh, that was a good set, giving it to Santos. That was not expected by Farm Fresh, and that will end the second set. 25-14, the final score. Let's take a look at the play of the set. Brought to you by Pure Gold. Sa Pure Gold, always panalo. And a lot for Farm Fresh to discuss in this break, to see how they can play better and just reduce the number of errors that they produced in this second set. We'll be back to talk more about it after the break. Yes. $25-14 is how that second set ended. A sharp contrast to what happened in the first set, where Farm Fresh took Signal 25-23. And looking back at the highlights, I mean, we're not going to see, obviously, we're not going to see the errors on the highlights, which is really the story in the second set. But a lot of good things happening on the Signal side as well.
That's right. And as I said earlier, Signal, they're coming off from the first set loss, but they bounced back really well in the second set, forgetting about what happened in the first and probably learning about all from the mistakes. And what Signal did very well in the second set was the fact that they held on to the momentum that they were able to create. And the Farm Fresh Foxies, on the other hand, struggled with the errors, and this is what we're talking about as we take a look at the numbers. 9 3 points given away by Farm Fresh Foxies, and the Signal also did a good job in converting all the opportunities they had for their attacks into points. 14 attack points in the second set.
We're liking what Tin Tiamson is showing on the Signal side. Manny Gandler has come alive also here in the second set, which we said was going to really spell the difference for Signal. We saw that, of course, Erica Santos very consistent, and Jelka Yuna doing the good distribution there on the Signal side. But on the Farm Fresh side, Kyla, you were talking a lot about the growth of many of these players that was brought on by the example and the experience that the likes of Ces Molina is bringing into the team.
Yes, exactly. I was talking about Ces Molina earlier during the pregame and telling you guys about how she has really been trying to allow her younger players to shine, and not just that, but remind them that this is the big stage, the pressure, the stakes are high, but they have to level down on the energy. Maybe they're a bit too tense, and that's what happened in that second set. Maybe they got a bit excited. Well, moving on to the Signal side, I wanted to quickly point out my conversation with Erica Santos, because Erica told me that yung sakit daw nila is the slow starts, and maybe that's what we saw in set 1, but they got their groove back, and that's important that consistency will be there moving forward.
Again, it was a 4-set affair. Also, the first time these two teams met, with Signal winning that one. Trisha Tubu a little bit quiet in that second set, Ivy.
That's right. And of course, we need to expect more from Tubu in this match for Farm Fresh. But, I think overall what they need to do moving on here in the third set is to really minimize the errors, which has cost them set number 2.
All right, it looks like we are ready for set 3. We have both teams splitting the first and second sets. So we talked about also how we have enjoyed the rallies from the first set here, and just underscoring the importance of this first semifinal win for either team.
17.
All right. And we are glad you're on hand this early. Like we said, this is a doubleheader. Many very excited about the late game today between Creamline and PLDT. So the MOA Arena already filling up on this beautiful Saturday for volleyball. This is a single round robin affair. Ang haba talaga nitong All-Filipino na to, no, Ivy?
So it's only does not, physically, I'm sure everybody realizes, how much it impacts, of course, the athletes. But, in any tournament, we're not only talking about your physical strength, but nandyan din yung mental, which is really very important. So how do you maintain that, that mental toughness, with a long tournament like this? And it gets
tiring, no?
That's right. And more intense, actually, as you move, as you progress.
Yeah. Tama, you have to pay attention to the exhaustion, the mental exhaustion. Meron din yun eh. And doon talaga pumapasok yung experience, yung talagang time spent on the court. Yan yung matuturo sa inyo ng mga veterano.
Right.
Ces, ni Royce, of course, Signal, filled with veterans. And here. Looking at good rallies against Signal on the other side now with that kill. They have the first 2 points here in our third set.
I love the energy I'm seeing on the side of Signal. It's they're really off to a very good start. The body language is actually very positive on the side of Signal.
Good up, broken play here for Signal. Erica Santos. And General knew exactly where to be. Galang is still on the court. Katindig keeping the ball in play. Here we go with our rallies again. Oh! Risa Cruz missed the timing there. Tiamson's chasing after the ball. Able to avoid the net. A lot of broken plays, off system. Good saves. Oh, and that's 4 touches. And how about that rally?
Well, that was a very long rally. A lot of good saves we've seen from both teams. And again, you know, working for just 1 point. So much has happened.
Yung mga looking at Coach Koji, sige, if you give up points that way, okay lang. Pero wag yung mabilis ang binibigay nyo sa signal.
Yeah, that's right. Agree.
Good stop there by Don. Excellent digs by Katindig. And that got away.
Good save by Tiamzon.
Where will Alohi go? Back set. Oh, that was nice. That was unexpected. And Tubu gave it just enough for that cut shot.
And we have been waiting for, of course, Tubu, you know, to make some or do some damage from the side of Farm Fresh. Again, she has scored the points, but that's a bit quiet, you know, for her. Eh.
Medyo intermittent. Few and far between. Oh! And again, the errors now, we're seeing a glimpse of those again early in this third set for Farm Fresh. Tin Tiamzon is already in double digits. Oh no, she almost in double digits. She has she has 11, so she's already scored 2 points here in this third set.
Oh, not the best of receptions, but if you have a setter as tall as Alohi at the front, not much of a problem. Good defense at the net. The point goes to a Signal as that bounced outside.
Continue to serve here. Galang block. Good recovery there by Molina. And Erica Santos will go up for the attack. Molina with a dig. One more time for Galang. Tiamzon playing fantastic defense, supported, of course, by Don Katindig. And this is what we're seeing from Signal here, just unrelenting on defense. Pure focus from the super spikers. And a touch. Really good work from Signal here, both on offense and defense.
So one of the primary difference we're seeing so far here at the start of the set, you know, for Signal and Farm Fresh is that Signal they're able to execute their plays. And the other hand, for Farm Fresh, you know, we've seen a lot of tips kasi off timing. So, you know, that minimizes, of course, the opportunity to create points.
We're not seeing the rhythm just yet. It's not back with Farm Fresh. We saw it in the early part of this game. And now we're seeing these net violations. But lucky, well, not lucky. Signal does not need the luck because they're able to earn their points and getting breaks like net violations called against Farm Fresh.
It's a 4-0 run here for a Signal.
Good stop. Tiamzon, excellent defense. What an all-around game for Tin Tiamzon. And Signal is comfortably in the lead in our first technical timeout.
Watching the PVL All-Filipino Conference. It is semifinals. Day number 1, game number 1, and this is set number 3 between the Signal Super Spikers and the Farm Fresh Foxies. And when you really strip away everything in this game, it keeps going back to its setters, who are not just deciding, distributing, but creating magic on the court. Jelica Yuna is playing like someone who truly understands the weight of every possession. She shared every point has a story, and they just have to choose how it ends. And you can see that in her choices when to slow down, when to force, or when to just do it herself. But Alohi Robbins Hardy answers that with something just as powerful, composure. She told me, I don't need to control everything, just the next play. One is managing the entire picture, while the other is mastering the moment right in front of her. And somewhere in between those two mindsets, this match is being shaped set by set. But while this is still unfolding, loyal PVL fans, make sure that you voted for your favorite players on pvl.ph/allstar, because voting ends tonight. Chiki and Ivy.
Thanks a lot for that. And you know, the numbers will really show for itself. And Jelica Yuna is responsible for the really good spread of points here among the Signal players. Santos with 10 points, Tiamson leading with 11 points, even Doria Aquino contributing 7, Gandler with 6, and Kayuna, of course, contributing 3 for herself. And the errors keep coming for Farm Fresh. And an 8-point lead for Signal.
Farm Fresh struggling here in the third set.
Chachatubu is limited to 8 points so far in this game. And that one gets past Vanny Gandler, so Risa Cruz will score. That's 4 for Cruz.
Seven-point advantage being enjoyed by Signal.
Good serve. That one went over. And Ces Molina, exactly where she needed to be.
Nagka-count pa din yung tiro. Nagka-count pa din. Nagka-count pa din yung tiro.
Still a big lead for Farm Fresh, or for Signal rather. Continuing on from their 25-14 drubbing of Foxies in set number 2. Ooh, it's huge. Erica Santos.
That's right. You know, that combination play has worked very well for Signal.
Take a look at the spike of the set, brought to you by Duncan, pasalubong ng bayan. Oh, and I like how Erica Santos crosses the net, making sure that Chachatubu's okay. It's a huge one from Erica Santos. Seven-point lead for Signal. Tough serves also from Santos. Ayuna going to Jackie Acuna, and again, the middle blockers joining in the fray. And pinatutuhanan lang ni Jelica Yuna yung sinasabi ni Kyla, no? She really is orchestrating the game quite well for the Super Spikers. Timeout. Farm Fresh.
Relax lang. May quick sila. Bantay tayo sa quick.
Hindi mo may pumapatong, wala na may ikot pa.
Okay. Yes, coach. Yes, coach.
Talk.
Okay, let's go.
Everyone talk.
Energy. Sobrang aggressive nila. Kailangan maging aggressive din tayo, ha? Guys, one step by step. Taxi! Let's go!
We heard a couple of keywords there. They need to be more aggressive. They also need to relax. Medyo tense sila. Napapansin nila yun sa kanilang sarili. So these intangibles, no plays mentioned there, but really just a difference in attitude.
And communication, you know, that more talking inside the court.
Good stop. It's just the defense has been excellent for Signal.
That's right.
Particularly in this third set. Look at that. Parang dalawa yung libero nila with Tiamson just covering everything in the back. As we say, she's got everything covered there. And it just sets things up for Kayuna to run her plays, for Danny Gandler to finish. Just all systems working so well for Signal.
I guess, you know, well, that's one obvious difference. You know, they're able to keep the ball alive and naihahatid rin nila ng maayos kay Jel. So that gives Jel, of course, more options still, you know, in deciding sa kanilang offense.
Well, here's the break. Farm Fresh needs at service error there from Erica Santos. A lot of catching up that Farm Fresh needs to do. And Jel looking for Gandler.
Was there a touch? Yes, there was a touch.
So that's still going to be a point for Vanny Gandler, who is nearing double digits now. Slow start for Vanny, but she's now at 8. Tubu stopped. Good rebound here for Signal. And what a read. But it was 1-2 creating problems really for Farm Fresh. Look at Don Katindig just following the trajectory of the ball. Gandler with a setup from back row. And that one off the hands of the blockers. Chinagari naman ng Farm Fresh.
Excellent rally that we have there. A lot of, doon natin nakita, no, the fast reflexes of the players on the court.
We love the defense highlights, just the dives and the saves, particularly from Don Katindig and Tin Tiamson, and that big one. Also on the Farm Fresh side. And 2 in a row for Farm Fresh. You know, you got to credit La Rosa also because she's had a couple of saves that allowed for these transitions to happen.
Ooh, oh, that was smart from Cayuna.
Yeah. Again, it's her athleticism being displayed here. Jel Cayuna just managing to save what would have been a ball that would have gone straight into the net.
Was not actually expected by Farm Fresh because it's still settable, you know, it can still be played.
Royce Tubino. Good rebound here for Signal. Tiamson will just send it over. Chance here of a reboot for Farm Fresh. Royce again is the chosen one. Good chase there. Erica Santos, the counter. Royce for the 3rd time. That was medyo alanganin para kay Royce Tubino. She's not getting the sets that she wants. Having a difficult time scoring there from the left pin. 16 points for Signal, 7 for Farm Fresh, and we are at our 2nd technical timeout. Watch the final episode of The Bounce Season 3 with Clalo Resco of FEU and Gian Chotico of Ateneo alongside host Ken Batas, premiering this Friday at 6 p.m. on the Pilipinas Live app with catch-up airing on the UAAP Varsity channel. And look at this crowd, kumakapal na rin ang tao dito sa MOA Arena. And this is a doubleheader that this crowd is enjoying. Of course, coming up, Signal going up against PLDT. That's going to be a huge one. And this is just the start of our semifinals. And Danny Gandler wondering why she let that one go. Actually, that was a good attack. She was not going to make it there. So that's a good point for Farm Fresh. And single round robin. Both teams, all of these teams have 3 games to play in the semi-final round. Mahaba.
Mahaba pa, yes. That's right.
Tapos best of 3 din yung ating finals round, no? Another error there in the attack by Lutoring. Still a 9-point lead for Signal. So they have kept it up since the second set, just really dominating over Farm Fresh. Aloy going to Tubo again. And Trish Tubo just playing it smart. Doesn't have to go all power all the time, so she gets that point.
Good adjustment there for Tubo.
She now leads all scorers with 11 points here on the side of Farm Fresh. Filipino has 10. Mylene Paat getting a good amount of minutes in this game today. Perfect pass there. And that equals a quick point for Signal. Like you said, pag sakto and the A pass will just give Jalcayuna multiple options.
That's right.
That's a good first ball as well. Gandol will go up to the attack. A tip. Nagkagulo dito sa Farm Fresh. And Signal will get a chance at offense one more time. Ball right back. Good anticipation by Erica Santos. Tiamson sending it over. Tubino will... Oh, and she is just having a little luck from the left pin in these past sequences.
And she's very much out of position in that last sequence.
And, you know, looking at the bench here of Signal, di pa natin nakikita yung iba. Time out here, Farm Fresh.
Then before, don't stop. Second ball, talk. 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 Talk each other, talk.
Basta maangat yung bola, ha? May mag-a-attempt.
Simple, simple, simple. Beat the pass the basic. Everyone cover to center. Spiker, cover. Okay.
Mana, Sara pa, palo na palo.
Coach Koji just trying to shake the team up to really just get them to forget about the first part of this set and remember what they know. Just back to basics, sabi niya.
That's right. And again, you know, that appeal to talk inside the court, you know, communication really is very important.
That's a good first ball. Let's see what gives here for Farm Fresh. And Doria being smart. Tubino going deep. Jamson was still there. One more time for Santos. Getting it past the two-man block. And it's just Signal able to recycle every ball.
That's right. And that's primarily one of the differences we're seeing from Signal and Farm Fresh. So Signal, they're able to create opportunities for themselves to, you know, try again.
Oh, and a lot of these errors already, less than desirable sets, and just error after error from Farm Fresh. And we're saying, I'll be looking at the bench of Sigla. Ang dami po mga malalakas na hindi na papasok dyan. Si Julian Carnacion has been having quite a conference here with Signal. She, I think, was unexpected, was a sleeper there. But she has been doing really well, of course. Yes, Ordiales also has had a couple of good games. Lalong Isip has not been brought in yet.
So a challenge will now be called by Farm Fresh in that last sequence. Of course, this is something that Farm Fresh really needs, you know. If they're able to win this challenge, the challenge is called for a block touch.
Looks like it's clean.
was.
Yeah, so this is an even bigger lead for Signal in this third set so far. 22-9. It's just a totally different ball game compared to what we saw in the opening frame. How Farm Fresh just exploded.
And like I mentioned, the body language actually of Farm Fresh is it's very different from how it was in the first.
Oh, that one got away from Jelka Yunang. And these little pockets of opportunity here for Farm Fresh that they just really need to be able to maximize. I mean, this is going to be a tough catch-up job coming from being behind 12 points. But looking ahead, I mean, they already won the first set. So hindi pa sila nadidiin dito. We're talking about Lalong Isip, who has still been kept out. She is finally on the court now. Oh, La Rosa tried to get one up. Not high enough. More players being pulled from the bench of Signal. And we got Demura coming in at the serve. So lahat nakakalaro na. Good serve. Lalong Isip with a good dig there. Gandler.
And that sails out.
Yep. And talagang, if you really give it your all in defense and you sacrifice your body, it makes it all worthwhile when your attackers, when your front row will score off of those saves. And that one got away from Acuna. So Tubu there will get the point, but still, so many set points here for Signal.
Still a tall mountain to climb for Farm Fresh.
So it was 25-14 in the second set. Let's see if they can actually improve on that, talking about Farm Fresh. And that's Danny Gandler. Said, let's not prolong the agony. Let's just win it now. Much easier than the second set even, 25-11. And this play of the set brought to you by Pure Gold. So Pure Gold, always panalo. Danny Gandler with a winning point in set number 3. Final score 25-11. And now Signal up 2-1. We'll be back. $25-11 the score in that third set. Settled in 24 minutes. So nakikita natin talaga paangat ng paangat ang laro ng Signal. Meantime, talagang medyo na-intimidate na rin ang Farm Fresh. Errors, one after another. And that has been really the problem for the Foxies.
That's right. You know, once they're able to, you know, get their momentum coming, they can do it, they can deliver. It's just that these errors have been plaguing them since the second set. So that has been the problem for Farm Fresh. They're not able to get their form back together. And, you know, they're unable to convert also those very few moments that they have the opportunities to score a point. They're not able to convert that because Signal has also been defending the floor very well.
Yeah.
As we take a look at the numbers, 17 points converted by Signal, 8 errors by Farm Fresh. And you know, that error does not only, you're not only talking about the free points that you've given away, but we're also talking about the kind of momentum you are giving your opponent. So parang mas lalong na sumigla, you know, ang signal, you know, the body language, again, I mentioned that earlier, you know, more aggressiveness is being seen on the side of Signal. While for Farm Fresh, they're struggling to keep things going how it was like in the first set.
Yeah.
So parang nangangapa sila in certain some of the sequences, you know, that some of the unforced errors we've seen is just lack of communication, yung ganun lang.
Parang I think it seems something's off, and they just have to find that thing and just
That's right.
realign, because they did it earlier
That's
in the
true.
first set.
That's
no?
true.
And Signal, the one error, I mean, almost flawless in that third set, and really the display of the efficiency on defense, their floor coverage, and this is the kind of coverage that they need to produce during the semifinals if they want to go all the way. Farm Fresh already, they have acknowledged that they are the challengers here. So they need to look beyond this game also, partner, no? They have a long way to go in the semifinals.
Right.
So they really have to fine-tune their performance. Signal already there, just peaking here in the semifinals. And Lalong Isip will stay on the court. And that also is another thing that we're seeing, just the depth of the bench of Signal. So many quality players.
And service ace.
And just the decision of Farm Fresh to just let that ball drop. But it was oh, look at how it floated. Early timeout for Coach Koji.
No opponent! You are opponent! You are enemy of this team! This team! No net over the net! This team! You are mine!
I think we are understanding what Coach Koji is saying, that Farm Fresh is getting in their own way. They are their own opponents. Parang kalaban nila yung sarili nila.
That's right.
And that's a valid point, no, for Coach Koji.
You know, yung sabi nga nila, diba, you can only be your own worst enemy.
Farm Fresh has to dig deep. They don't have to look too far. They can just look at the first set and remember what it was like.
Yeah, so whatever they did in the first set, that's the only thing that they have to replicate.
Gander has definitely come alive since the third set. And she has been making quite the difference here. One of the 3 players in double digits for Signal. We got Santos with 15, Gander with 11, Tiamson also with 11, Doria Aquino not far behind with 7 points. Of course, Jelka Yuna also contributing his own points. Cesc Molina now with 6. First point for Farm Fresh here in set 4. Must-win situation for the Foxies. They waited 8 conferences to get this far. Good cover there by Lalong Isip. Santos again. Better defense for Farm Fresh. And Santos wanted to go down the line. Is she gonna get a...
But she got a touch on the block.
Doria Aquino also quietly contributing here with 7 points. So a lot of activation from the middle and also points off the block here for Doria Aquino. There's a... Is that a rotation error? Or what was the rotation error indeed. So a break here for Farm Fresh.
You can see Farm Fresh can take advantage. You know, this is only a slim lead by Signal.
Perfect pass there. And good blocking. The number 2 blocking team in the league. Let's turn it over to Kyla Kingsu now for her report.
Ms. Chigi and Ivy, set number 4, we are slowly approaching the end game, and this is really where timing gets tricky and when it matters most. And when everything's busy on the court, they all lean to their captains. And I want to talk about Kapitana Dawn Makandili Katindig for the Signal Super Spikers because, you know, she's a leader defined by control in the back row, stabilizing chaos before it turns into points. And before this match, she told me how the entire Signal squad, from starters to the bench and staff, have been committed to preparing for any scenario here in the semis. And that's really what they were up to the past 2 weeks, even up to the final minutes in the dugout earlier. In Dawn's words, the key to winning here will lie in their ability to execute any adjustment needed with precision. So if Dawn or any of the players on the court are in your dream team, make sure that you are able to vote for them on pvl.ph/allstar now, because voting will be ending tonight, Chigi and Ivy.
So exciting to see who the All-Stars will be.
That's
Thanks a lot
right.
for that, Kyla. You have some time. You can actually do it while enjoying this game.
But I think the game is too enjoyable. No? They won't be able to concentrate on the voting.
I wonder if any of your choices are playing in front of you right now. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Of course, we're looking at the top 4 teams today. Cream 9 and PLDT later on. So hindi na tayo magugulat. But we will find out soon enough on Monday. Abangan nyo yan, April 13, the big reveal. Meantime, Farm Fresh able to stay within 2 points of Signal.
Was there a touch? No touch. I think Tubino was trying to look for some hands.
So Signal still in the lead. Tough serve, Annie Gantler. Still to add to her aces. I think she's had 2 today. She is the 6th best server with 9 aces. We are second technical timeout. Or first.
Here joined by the cast of Project Loki, a Filipino mystery thriller, of course, based on the popular Wattpad story. And we have a few episodes already on Signal Play and soon to air on TV5. Hello, you guys. Hi, Dylan. Hi, Jada. And hi, Marco. Thanks so much for joining us here in the PVL. So nice to meet you. Well, let's get started with introductions para naman makilala natin yung mga characters nyo. Let's start with Loki, of course. Dylan, can you share who is Loki the moment that we meet him and maybe some of the similarities that you share with your character?
First of all, what's up, Mo Arena? This is Dylan Menor and I'll be playing Loki Mendez. Loki Mendez basically is the president of the QED Club, the detective club in Clark University. And, you know, Loki's personality is mysterious.
Sorry, palit again. One more. Sige, again, one more.
So basically, hi everyone, this is Dylan and I'll be playing Loki Mendez. Loki Mendez is the founder or the president of the QED Club, the detective club in Clark University. And the personality naman ni Loki, he is nonchalant, he's still but at the same time he's very sharp, he's always one step ahead.
Oh, well, we're all very much excited to meet him soon on TV5, but it's already on Signal Play. Now, let's start with you, Jada. Tell us more about Lorelai. I hear that she's the emotional anchor.
Yes.
Somehow carrying something deeper in the story. Maybe you'd like to share what kind of character she is and what trait did you really want to show when you were portraying her?
I think, well, about Lorelai, so she is actually Loki's vice president in the QED Club, basically Loki's second in command, and I would describe her as quiet and empathetic, and I think her being like you said, the emotional anchor of the QED club and the group, and of course of Loki, is something that I really resonate with. And her being, I guess, just an empathetic person. I think, despite everything that she goes through many things in the story. But I think at the end of the day, she shows strength in her vulnerability, and she's able to rise above all of the circumstances that are happening in her life. And she and Loki, they solve cases together. They seek the truth and justice, and of course, their goal is to figure out who is M and who's the head of the criminal organization of M. So.
Sounds very interesting, and she seems like a very complex yet beautiful character.
Oh,
right?
thank you. Yeah, she is pretty complex, and I love being able to play her. It's an honor.
Perfect. Now let's move on to you, Marco.
I think they've said it all, though.
Well, we want to meet Luther too, because name pa lang, parang may bigat na siya. Can you share what role he plays and how does he fit into Loki's world?
Right. So I'm his older brother, basically, and we do have similarities, but he basically hates me because of different reasons that you guys have to watch on Signal Play this coming May.
And we're so excited to see that. Now, going back, just a quick question about the story. What do you think is that one thing that will hook our viewers upon watching Project Loki? You know, the first thing, or for those who haven't heard of the story yet, maybe what's to look out for?
Well, I would say, so Project Loki is a crime thriller series. It's really something different. I think it's something different that the Philippine entertainment industry has to offer. It's a nice palate cleanser in the world of romance and things like that. It's really something unique, and I think the three of us have this shared passion about this project and how it's a game changer, and I think that's something that people should look out for when they watch it on Signal Play and of course TV5.
Yeah, so without giving too much, that was the perfect way to describe Project Loki. Now, if you want to invite everybody to watch and where they can watch it.
Of course. Well, you guys can watch and stream Project Loki on Signal Play, and of course, it'll be airing this May 23, if I'm not mistaken, on TV5. So, sana subaybayan niyo yun.
There you go. This has been the cast of Project Loki. It is available on Signal Play and soon on TV5. Thank you guys for joining
so
us.
much.
Enjoy the PVL.
Thanks a lot, Kyla. And that is really perfect timing because we have a delay in the game here. And it was great to hear from the stars of Project Loki, which is going to come soon also to you via free TV, but meantime available already on Signal Play. And what a perfect time for them to come watch the games here in the PVL.
That's
so much
right.
excitement on day one of our semifinals. Back to the game. Lalong Isip looking for the tip there. She will get the check ball, and Signal continues to lead. This time, it is a 7-point advantage now for Signal.
So everything's just going the way of Signal here in this game. You know, after losing the first set, and they took complete control.
And the score should be 12-4. Let's see if... or 11-4. So the 7-point advantage now. Filipino stopped. Lalo Isip into the net. That's an error on Signal, and a lucky break here for Farm Fresh. 3-point for them. We got 3 Signal super spikers in double digits so far. That's Gandler, that's Erica Santos, and Tinti Amson taking a breather now. And Royce Tubino with 10 points. Tubu with 11, limited to 11, shall we say. She's used to getting her score in the 20s. Romero is doing the setting chores now. Palma also in the fray. Romero pushing it out. The Ces Molina, that gets away from Acuna. So that's a good choice by Romero, sending it all the way out to the left pin. Let's take a look at the spike of the set. Brought to you by Dunkin, pasalubong ng bayan. Nakita doon, nahuli tuloy yung mga blockers. So we saw how Farm Fresh was able to score runs in the first set. So that's something that they need to remember.
Good save by Cayuna.
Santos timing it. Another chance here. Joust won by Signal. And again, this is when you see the difference between Romero and Robbins Hardy. Both very able setters, but then the height advantage is what you will miss when you have these jousts, like what you saw right there. 7-point lead for Signal. Again, rebound. One more chance for the Super Spikers. And coming from the right pin, unstoppable. Erica Santos just continues to score. She's got 17 now.
Catching some hands with that last hit.
Yeah, she doesn't need a clean hit. She doesn't even look for it. Talagang sinasadya na niya yung mga hit outs.
Okay, okay, good catch, good catch. One more, spike over, spike over. One more, I go. More, outside. Okay. Inside, it's okay. Moving. Okay.
I mean, this really is not surprising, seeing Signal perform the way they are here, because that is what they've shown all conference long.
That's right. And of course, I think much more so because we are in an important stretch of the tournament already. And they prepared for this, you know. I'm sure they've studied, you know, their opponents in that break.
And that was the advantage. I mean, they earned it because they got into the semifinals the easy way. And that was worth it because they were able to rest and recover and really plan. And all of that is just evident in their performance today. Looking back at their first meeting, it was a 4-set affair, as we mentioned. Farm Fresh was able to save the third set, but eventually Creamline taking back the fourth set. And again, another service ace for Jel Cayuna. That's her 5th point, her 2nd ace today, and she will stay on top of the serving category for the PVL. Second technical timeout, 10-point lead for Signal. UAAP Season 88 Volleyball is in full swing. Watch the games every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Pilipinas Live app. Also available on the UAAP Varsity channel and One Sports, because legends start here. We're seeing a lot of them here in the PVL as well. Many of the stars here on the Signal side, also on the, you remember, Trisha Tubu and her entry into the UAAP.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden making waves here in the PVL. Another chance here for Farm Fresh. Alohi is back on the court as a setter, and that was beautiful down the line from Ces Molina.
But they would need more of that. You know, I'm talking about on the side of Farm Fresh. And no room for errors as well for them.
Oh, this is a chance here for Farm Fresh. They did not waste it after that overpass by Don Katindig. So 2 points in a row for Farm Fresh. Better pass from Don. And that equals a quick point for Erica Santos. 19 points for her. And again, we mentioned, hindi naman puro kill, no?
She's really been able to score a lot, you know, with those touches.
Yeah. Good serve from Ishi Lalong Isip. Broken play. Molina could not get it past. And just Farm Fresh down on their luck here in this fourth set. Signal, meantime, on cruise control. Tubu sneaking in a point in there. That's her 12th.
But again, this is a slow day for Trisha.
Yeah.
Not her usual production.
See, Trisha scored 19 points in that first meeting against Signal. Let's see if she can get more points in. Royce Tubino will get that one. And she has 11 as well. So it really has been Royce, Tubu, Tubino. They have been a tandem. Of course, Ces Molina pitching in 9 points.
Good serve.
Oh, combination attack. The Doria there, the decoy.
And again, that combination play has worked very well for Signal. Very high success rate they've had with that combination play.
And big serves. You know, we've seen a lot of good serves. Kahit hindi service aces, nakikita natin na napapaalog nila at causing shanks and causing problems with their system. Ten-point lead for Signal. Gangler going up, going deep. That one got away. They tried to bring in some new players here for Farm Fresh, but Monares could not keep the ball in play. So this is a very scary Signal Super Spikers team that we're seeing here.
But you can see, you know, the rest really did them well.
Yeah.
Oh, what a hit from Tubu.
And it still looks good. Trisha Tubu still able to produce. But it's going to take much more than that to get past Signal at their prime. Still a 10-point advantage. Perfect pass again from Dawn. Gandler converts. It's that system working like clockwork for the Super Spikers.
And they're able to run combinations because of the good passing. Take a look at this.
Hindi na talaga gumagalaw si Jel. Oh, that one over. And Gandler will not waste that one for a quick point. She's got 18. And Signal just looking for 2 more points to call it a day.
Challenge will be called by Farm Fresh. This is reaching beyond the net.
First challenge that we've seen, I believe, here in this fourth set. So at this point where it is all but decided, it will take more than a miracle, really, to get Farm Fresh past this point. But a lot of them to think about, a lot of soul searching for Coach Koji. Maybe a little more time to think about how to approach the second semifinals game that they will play. They will still meet both PLDT and Creamline in the single round robin affair. And that's a hit out, so Royce Tubino is still going. That's 12 points for her. Oh, back set. Oh, but that's outside and another break still. Oh, they're gonna challenge. So Erica Santos thinks it went in, but the line judge right in front of the line called it out. Nothing to lose for Signal.
That's right. So if they get this point, just a few more and they secure game number 1.
Yeah, just 2 more points. And at the rate that they're playing, I mean, if they keep playing like this, it's just a matter of time, really.
Is it in? Oh, it did catch the line.
Look at that. So iba yung point of view ni Erica Santos compared to dun sa lines judge, which was beside the ball. And that was a good challenge, as if they needed that break. And now it is a set point, match point, with Erin Pangilinan and Chelsea coming in. Gandler is at the service line. Bad news for Farm Fresh. She's already had aces today. Let's see if she will prolong the agony or finish it right off. Good serve. Royce Sabino not done yet. One more chance here for Royce. It was a bad angle for her. She hits it right into the antenna, and this was a hands-down victory for Signal. Just really outplaying Farm Fresh beginning in the second set. It was a good display of Farm Fresh and their abilities in set 1, but it didn't take long for Signal to show what they really were all about. And 4-set win for the Super Spikers, scoring their first W in the semifinals. Let's take a look at the play of the set, brought to you by Pure Gold. So Pure Gold, always panalo. Again, we still have a couple more games for both teams in the semifinals. Both teams still waiting to win. The other 2 players getting ready. The other 2 teams getting ready to face off in this late game. We'll take a quick break, talk about this match, and also get you ready for our late game today. Four-set win for Signal, and off the air we were talking, Ivy, about how clean Signal played today. Barely any errors, particularly in the third set, just 1 error. And even this 4th set, they really played to their level and showed what they're about. The Babad Player of the Game, brought to you by Devant. Enjoy unforgettable TV Babad moments with your family, only with Devant. And we're talking about Erica Santos, of course.
She has, she played exceptionally well here in that game today.
Of course, the top scorer also. Kyla Kingsu is with our player of the game.
Closer to making your way back to the... One step closer to making your way back to the PVL final stage. Here with me is player of the game, Erica Santos of the Signal Super Spikers. Congratulations, Erica. What a way to kick off the semifinals here, this All-Filipino conference. Now, your team had around 2 weeks to prepare. What do you think from your preparations really paid off sa game na to, and what really clicked tonight?
For sure, pinaghahandaan namin bawat games namin kasi semis, must wins lahat. So lahat ng preparation, lahat ng pag-aaral, talagang sinasapuso ng bawat isa.
Balikan natin yung mga final sets. Ano yung mga mid-game adjustments that were really crucial para makamit yung panalo and finishing this game?
Siyempre yung mga kalaban, mahirap din silang puntusan kasi most of them mga veteran. So, yun, nag-adjust lang kami and tinignan namin kung paano yung kami makakapuntos, hindi lang puro power.
Erica, your next game will be up against the Creamline Cool Smashers next Tuesday here in Mo Arena. How will the team be preparing for that game?
Ngayon, magre-recover muna and isa-celebrate namin yung win. Pero yun, mag-aaral kami and yun, paghahandaan namin yung Creamline.
May gusto ka bang batiin? Go ahead.
First of all, binabati ko po yung Signal management, yung fans, yung family ko sa Pampanga. Thank you po sa inyo. Tapos, yung lahat po na nanonood, Team Signal, yung coach ko po, Coach Javi. Tapos, yung cat ko si Elvis.
There you go, Erica Santos, our player of the game. Congratulations once again to Signal, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Much deserved. And of course, as we heard from Erica Santos, it wasn't a fluke. Everything was intentional. They really prepared. And yung sinasabi nga niya, hindi daw lahat ng puntos, hindi daw makukuha sa power. Yun yung nakita talaga natin. And I think really a good choice for player of the game, Ivy.
That's right. No, she's been very consistent. Actually, not just in this particular game, no, but all throughout. You know, the conference for Signal. But as we take a look at the numbers, we can really see, you know, how Signal was able to what the preparation they have done. You know, they outscored Farm Fresh with attacks, with the blocks, and even at the service line. And when we talked about the malinis na laro, because they managed to really reduce the errors, you know, for this game. And siguro with that aces, they had 6 aces in the entire match, but they really gave Farm Fresh a very good challenge with receiving the first ball from the serves.
But also we heard Erica Santos just really showing respect to the other side, knowing that there are a lot of veterans. So they don't take anything for granted, which is actually a very good attitude coming from a veteran team. When you know na lamang kayo sa experience.
That's right.
Now coming up it's kind of the same story with PLDT also getting that kind of preparation time because they were also early into the semifinals and Creamline just coming off of a game as well. Will that matter? Well, there are thousands here live at the Mo Arena to witness it in the flesh, and we're glad that you are still on hand because coming up, PLDT going up against Creamline. So on behalf of Kyla Kingsu and Ivy Remulia and the rest of the men and women of Signal Sports, this has been Chikiro Puno. Stay stuck. We have more to come in day 1 of action in the semifinals of the PVL All-Filipino Conference.